Alexis, you've had 103 or 4 days of Donald Trump.
Yes.
You have had a chance to evaluate the policy action and the policy signals from his administration. What's at stake for the innovation economy?
A lot. And speaking from tech in particular, we're an industry that leads the world. And that's a powerful thing. There are not a lot of industries in the world that America is so dominant in. And the reason we do that is in part because we've always had an industry and a country that's wanted to get the best and the brightest and given them chances to succeed here from anywhere. And also because we've had a level playing field for upstarts with a great idea sitting in their dorm room to be able to just simply make something without waiting for permission and just putting it to the world and beating incumbents by virtue of just making something better.
Well, I don't think anybody believes the administration is trying to stop anybody from doing anything in his dorm room. The other issue you raised implicitly, though, is immigration.
Well, and I think, and I would say net neutrality speaks to that other second issue, where it's imperative we have a level playing field, right? The upstart needs to be able to win because she makes something that's just better, and that the market chooses the winner and loser, not a big cable company.
So let's pick off these two issues separately, even though I can tell from your point of view they form part of the same, call it, problem. Let's begin with immigration.
Yes.
There's an effort underway. There's certainly talk of restricting the number of H-1B visas issued to companies in Silicon Valley. How would it affect Reddit, let's say, and how would it affect tech, the way you describe it more broadly?
Well, frankly, the H-1B issue wouldn't affect us tremendously. We have over 200 employees, but that's not, H-1Bs are not a primary concern or issue for us. More broadly, though, what's so important is that we have amazing people who we want to bring here to help contribute to Reddit, to create value, provide for their families and all that. And they're now wondering, is this a country that I can stay in long term? And we've got our neighbors to the north, Canada, that I think are really taking advantage of this opportunity, taking advantage of the fact that you have a lot of really talented, proud Americans or people who aspire to be that, who are now thinking twice about whether or not America can really be the place for them to find their American dream. And we've succeeded.
You're worried about Canada stealing the march on the United States when it comes to innovation, technological development, and advances.
And frankly, one of the reasons why we've been so dominant as an industry globally is because people have known that this was the place where you could go and create something amazing, whether it's starting a company or joining one.
So for you, it's a matter of principle. It's not a practical issue.
It is primarily a principle one, and I think I wrote an open letter that I published on Reddit because Reddit would not exist if it weren't for the fact that my father's side of the family, who were all refugees, were able to find sanctuary here, and my mother, who was actually undocumented for a couple of years, was able to remain in this country. So it's a personal issue for me. And obviously Reddit affects a lot of people, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience that I may not have otherwise had. So I felt the need to speak up. But I think the principle here underlies the bigger issue, which is structurally, this country has always thrived because it's taken the best and the brightest in.
Let's talk about net neutrality.
Sure.
Why are you so concerned about it?
It is...
Ajit Pai, as he says, blocking the FCC shot.
Yeah. It is so important. We've had a system in place right now that allows for this level playing field. And I think all of us as Americans want companies to succeed because the market says they should. What we're talking about now, what the FCC chairman is talking about, what he's proposing, is effectively going to let cable companies pick winners and losers. And that's just not, that's against the founding principles of how the open internet works. And it's going to mean a worse outcome for consumers. I want better things. And I think most Americans do too.
You've heard this argument, so I have to put it to you.
Please.
What about other arenas, like search, for example, where Google picks winners and losers in its search algorithms?
What is so interesting about this is, at the end of the day, I can load up any search engine I want, right? And there are upstarts that get funded all the time right now that compete with Google. There isn't any difference between getting to a Google website today with net neutrality and getting to some upstart. What I don't want, and what will happen if we lose these net neutrality rules, is for one of our cable companies to decide that the default search package for your internet involves some competitor, involves Bing, because a deal was struck. And if you want Google search or you want some other search option, you have to pay more per month. I don't want my internet to look like my cable bill.